Hi friends, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 recommendations for places you need to visit in Australia. Australia is humongous, which means there's lots of places to explore. There's deserts here, there's tropical rainforests here, there's pristine beaches here. Australia has everything you need to live out your wanderlust dreams. If you're new around here, hi, my name's Dane. I post videos all about Australia and how you can move here on a working holiday visa. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe down below. I want to say these top 10 recommendations are based on my personal experiences. Let me know your thoughts down below. So kicking off with number 10, we have the Blue Mountains National Park. Now, if you've ever met me or traveled with me, you know how much I love the Blue Mountains. There is so much to see in the Blue Mountains National Park, and a lot of people overlook this destination when they visit Sydney, but it's only 2 hours by train to the cute little quirky town called Katoomba that is filled with beautiful eateries and quirky gift shops. I would recommend spending at least 2 nights to experience the peaceful location that is the Blue Mountains. Now, the reason I love the Blue Mountains is because firstly, they're just beautiful. I mean, just look at these videos on the screen. And secondly, there is so much to do here. I went about 5 times last year. I feel really lucky that I only live a few hours away from the Blue Mountains, but there is so many different hikes to do based on different capabilities, including my favorite, the Grand Canyon hike, which features waterfalls, canyons, loads of stairs, and just beautiful forest. So if you ever get the chance, make sure you go to the Blue Mountains. Number 9 is the Ningaloo Reef. Definitely should be on your bucket list if you're coming to Australia. Obviously, most people come to Australia to swim in the Great Barrier Reef, which I recommend you do, and it's definitely on this list. However, going west and heading to the Ningaloo Reef, like Coral Bay, Exmouth, you will be in for a treat. It's a lot less crowded. It is home to over 450 marine life species, and it is so beautiful. Filled with gorgeous turquoise beaches and plenty of marine life, including whale sharks and manta rays, which I had the amazing opportunity to do in September, and it was one of my favorite experiences that I've had so far whilst living in Australia. Number 8. Now, this is a bit of a random one. It is a small little coastal town in Western Australia called Busselton. Busselton is one of my favorite destinations that I think you should go to because it's got the typical small town Australian vibes. Everyone's really friendly, the beaches are lovely there, and it is home to Busselton Jetty, which is the longest jetty in the southern hemisphere. It's great for snorkeling. The beaches in this area are pristine. Turquoise waters, white sand beaches, not crowded at all, so you have all these beaches to yourself. One of my favorite beaches was actually not in Busselton, but it was close by. It was called Meelup Beach. It was stunning. As soon as I sent the drone up, I was like, wow, these beaches in Western Australia are amazing. How do I move here? I don't think this destination would be on everyone's itinerary, but I think it should be on yours. But overall, I just feel like the area is just very calm, it's serene, there's cool places to eat. I just love the small town vibes, and that is why I love Busselton. Now, we're going from the small town vibes to the big city vibes of Sydney. Sydney should be on everyone's bucket list. I lived here for 6 months. I had a great experience. I feel like it's such an exciting, vibrant city with, again, pristine beaches, you know, those famous Bondi Beach shots that you see with the icebergs pool and the white sand. Sydney's one of those places that really caters for everyone. If you're vegan, they've got plenty of eateries in places like Newtown. There's loads of markets going on. You've got the high class premium activities and beautiful, stunning coastal walks like the Bondi to Coogee walk or the Spit to Manly walk. I just feel like Sydney has it all. Like, I lived there for 6 months, and still when I pull in at Circular Quay on that train and I see the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, I am blown away. Sydney is just an iconic place that sits at number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6 is tropical North Queensland. So this is more of an area of Queensland. It's up in the north, and Cairns is the gateway to the tropical North Queensland, and I highly recommend you visit this place. It is filled with luscious waterfalls, jungles, and of course, the Great Barrier Reef. So if you want to experience this iconic activity of going out on the reef, it's like the same size as Italy. It's freaking humongous. There's so many tours that you can do. I'll recommend a few down below. I've personally been to tropical North Queensland 3 times in the last few years, and I feel like every time I go there, I experience something new, and I just take in this luscious rainforest. So the tropical North Queensland is home to the oldest living rainforest in the world, the Daintree. Daintree, you get it? A few of the top places to see in tropical North Queensland include Mila Mila Falls, Karratha, going up to the Daintree and staying at least a night or two because I just feel like that's something everyone needs to experience once in their life. And of course, taking one of the many tours out on the Great Barrier Reef. Number 5, Karratha National Park in Western Australia. I feel like this was one of those destinations that I visited and I had zero expectations, but I went there and I was blown away by the textures, the colors, and the landscapes of this place. Like, it was just beautiful. It was probably one of my most memorable experiences on my few years that I've spent in Australia. I camped there for a few nights on a tour, and just waking up, you feel like you're in this isolated, beautiful destination. There's lots of cool hikes there. There's gorges that even include swimming, but I've honestly never seen a landscape like Karratha National Park. One of my favorite places was Hammersley Gorge, which allows you to climb into this natural shaped bathtub with a full-on waterfall going into the bath. It was crazy. Now, Karratha is a little difficult to get to, but if you're gonna make the trip out to Western Australia, I highly recommend you do everything you can to go to Karratha and camp there for a few days. Number 4 is K'gari, previously known as Fraser Island. Again, I have been here so many times and I just love it. I feel like it's one of those really adventurous destinations, and there's so many options to cater for all kinds of tourists. If you want to go on your own, you can hire a self-drive. If you want to go on a backpacker tour and drive on the island, you can do that as well. Or if you just want to go over there for the day, you can stay in Noosa or Hervey Bay and get the ferry over on one of the many tours. The reason I love K'gari is because it just feels like you're on some crazy adventure. Now, if you don't know, K'gari is the largest sand island in the world. So firstly, you cannot drive your ordinary two-wheel drives on this island. You need to be in a 4x4 and you need to be bombing it down the beach to see all the natural wonders. You'll most likely see dingoes, sharks, and whales. Yes, very cool. If you want to find out more about this destination, I have a video linked down below where I compare 3 different tours that you can take. Number 3 is Uluru. Now, if you've never heard of Uluru, you've probably seen pictures of Australia and this big red rock that is in Central Australia. It is so magical, it will take your breath away. As a traveler, I think it's very important that you try and understand and learn about the culture of a country that you're traveling in, and Uluru is the perfect place to do that. If you're gonna visit Uluru, make sure you do some sort of guided tour where you can get lots of information from a local or a tour guide that knows all about the history and the Aboriginal culture that surrounds this magnificent place. Due to the limited accommodation and tour options, it can be a bit tricky to go to Uluru. That's why I'd highly recommend a tour, especially if you're a backpacker. I went on Mulga's Adventures. They're not paying me to say this, but I genuinely had the best time of my life. I went there on my own and I made like 20 backpacker friends. We slept out under the stars in swags and we watched sunrise at Uluru, we watched sunset, we did loads of hikes, and it was just such an epic experience to spend 4 days in the outback of Australia with a bunch of great people. On to number 2. One of my favorite places for beaches. Now, most people come to Australia because they're like, I want to see those amazing beaches that I see on the holiday ads. And if you've seen those pictures, you've probably seen photos of the beaches of Esperance. Esperance is home to over 3,500 beaches, which is some of the best in the country. There's a beach called Lucky Bay that you can go to and see kangaroos bouncing about on the pristine sand. Now, Lucky Bay was voted the #1 beach in the world by so many media outlets, and I can personally attest, it is freaking stunning. The destination Esperance is certainly a great way to live out your dreamy Australia adventures. A few of my favorite beaches here are Blue Haven, Hellfire Bay, and of course, Lucky Bay. Now, you're probably thinking, what is the #1 destination that I think you should travel to in Australia? Well, I'm gonna tell you. My #1 destination is the Kimberley region. Firstly, I will say that the Kimberley region is very big. In fact, it's 3 times the size of the United Kingdom, where I'm from. I'm putting the Kimberley as one destination, even though there is so many places that you can visit in the Kimberley. I'm sure any of them would be absolutely beautiful. I spent about a week in the Kimberley last year, and it honestly took my breath away. We camped every night in the Kimberley and just waking up and seeing these really unique landscapes. One of my favorite things about the Kimberley is that it is a really rugged, remote, isolating adventure. You definitely need a 4-wheel drive to get around the Kimberley because A lot of the tracks are dirt roads, but that's what makes it so adventurous. You can be on your own in the middle of the outback, and that is just one of my favorite parts about being in Australia, is that you can have all these destinations to yourself. When I think of the Kimberley, I think of one of my favorite places in the Kimberley, which is the Bungle Bungles, which is situated in Pununalulu National Park. The Bungle Bungles can be easily recognized by their beehive-shaped domes that are formed out of rocks. Honestly, I've never seen rock formations like this. There is no landscape in the world like the Bungle Bungles. So even though it's a bit difficult to get to, I think the remoteness of this location makes it so special. The Bungle Bungles were only discovered less than 40 years ago by a pilot that flew over this location, and then he tipped off a film crew, and that's how we know about the Bungle Bungles. Let me know down below, what are your favorite parts of Australia? There are so many places that I still need to visit, so don't be offended if I haven't mentioned somewhere you might live. I'd love to know your thoughts down below on any of these places that you've been to. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up, and leave me a comment down below. Which out of these places would you go to? So until next time, take care and peace out.